I'm trying to get my camera on, but I think it's broken.
I am the main character in this game.
So weird. Wait up. Yeah, it seems the PS4 does not recognize the camera. So, okay, whatever. That sucks. But it's okay. Whatever. So, after spending more than 100 hours now, I think I'm at 105 if I'm not mistaken. Holy damn. Okay. So after playing a huge amount of time on Zelda, I won't say that I've done everything, of course not. But after, in my opinion, done enough, I thought it was time to get back into Cyberdimension 4 Goddesses Online and try to beat that game before, of course, the other games are gonna come out, especially Xenoblade. Now, today I'm really, like, I'm really thinking about what should I do, because, you know, wait up. Oh wait, that's not good. Wait up. Okay. Because so, you know, I got every month I got $100 to spend on games, and pretty much my initial plan was to get Mario Odyssey next week. And I have been checking out various gameplays and interviews. I saw the shit from Digital Foundry saying that, you know, it's pretty fantastic that the game can run at 60 frames, 1080p, and looks so freaking good. And it definitely looks cool. But there are also a couple of other games that are, you know, gonna come out or already came out that I still just really want to play. Stuff like East 8, you know, Yakuza Kiwami, a couple of indie games. And of course, the whole thing is that, you know, Xenoblade 2 is also coming out. And I don't want to spend too much money on, you know, buying new games. So I'm really, you know, thinking like, should I really? Because I have to. Oh shit! I didn't get a key. Well, I'm going back and buy those keys. You pretty much gain armor sets or weapons with these chests. Oh yeah, there's a fun thing. It's kind of lame, but whatever. So Compile Hearts think that this outfit is a formal wear. That's kind of funny.
It is time for some well-deserved tea.
Hey, H-Brand, what's up? I'm finally sort of done with Zelda. My feeling finally says it's time to, you know, move on, play something else. Of course, I'm still gonna play Zelda. I've been playing it this morning. I got some really cool Lynel gear. Lynels are like giant man beasts, and they have like super cool, strong weapons and gear. And they're pretty much the strongest enemies besides the bosses in the game. And, you know, I finally beat those and got their gear. It was fucking cool. Really like the Savage Lynel gear is awesome. I got the Barbarian gear with, you have like 3 mazes in Zelda. I've done those and I got the Barbarian gear. That was pretty cool. That pretty much raises your attack significantly. So I'm even stronger.
Welcome.
Oh yeah, here's the keys.
This is thanks for your purchase. This is thanks for your purchase.
Thank you. So next week, Paris Games Week. It was Games Week, right? Yeah, it was Games Week.
Time to head out.
Can't wait. Really interested in what Sony is going to do.
So ready to go.
You know, at least if you look at United States and in Japan, like I have to admit, like the PS4 in Japan for a home console, it's selling pretty good. You know, it's selling 26,000, you know, every week. That is pretty good. From what I can tell, it's now 200,000 copies sold more than in the same time frame as PS3. And with, of course, stuff like Kingdom Hearts, Final Fantasy, and Monster Hunter, that is going to increase significantly. But you know, if we check out in Japan, and that, you know, the PS4 is kind of losing almost every month against the Switch, you know, many are kind of speculating and talking about that maybe it is the time to, you know, or have a really good PS4 bundle, or have a price cut. I'm not entirely sure if Sony's really going to do that, but yeah, we're gonna see what Tabata does. By the way, have you seen the reviews of Gran Turismo Sports? We have been predicting this. It's now at a 7.6. Now 7.6 is not terribly bad, but for a gigantic franchise like Gran Turismo, it is abysmal to have such a low ranking for pretty much their main game this generation. And I'm actually pretty happy about that. I'm like, yes, I hope it's not gonna sell well.
I found treasure.
The guy from, is he Yamaguchi, whatever, from Polygon Digital actually says that people who play Gran Turismo don't even like cars. I'm like, what? What? How the fuck do you want to play a simulation slash collecting game as Gran Turismo and do not like cars? Like, okay, you know, I'm not a huge car fan, but, you know, cars are pretty cool. You know.
An item.
Yeah, well, let's hope that Gran Turismo 7 at least is going to be like a real Gran Turismo. What's up, the TSDFS Sanko? Switch should collect all the Japanese RPGs. Well, that is something that we have been talking about. I haven't seen it ever in my stream, but we pretty much have been speculating is that when the Vita and 3DS dies, there is a big chance that all these small developers are going to flock on the Switch, especially because the Switch is going to pretty much outsell the PS4 next year. Kind of depends on what happens with Monster Hunter World and Sony's price cutting. But it kind of all depends. Like, the thing is, even now, PS4 is getting many more Japanese game announcements than Switch. If we're talking about it, there has been a tactical RPG been announced today, actually, from Namco Bandai. It's gonna be like a what's that game called? Holy shit, I have it. Super Robot Wars 5, the developer. So Full Metal Panic Fight, who dares announced for PS4. I mean, pretty much at the moment, most Japanese games are multi-platform or announced for PS4. But that could eventually change. But the whole point is that worldwide, the PS4 just has such a massive lead over the Switch, is that, you know, the Japanese developers are looking more and more outside Japan to sell their games. stuff like, you know, Final Fantasy and Nier Automata and Neo and Yakuza, well, maybe not Yakuza, but you know, those games all sold a lot more outside Japan instead of in Japan itself. So, you know, it could definitely be that the Switch is going to, you know, collect all the Japanese RPGs, but there is a big possibility, and that is, to be honest, the best possibility, that a lot of these games will be, you know, on PS4 and on Switch. And then it is up for gamers like myself who got both systems to make the choice of, you know, do I want portability, or most probably do I want to have better frame rate, better graphics, blah 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 blah. Well, H. Grant, didn't there a game leaked from Sony that's actually an RPG? I think I read something about that. It's gonna be PS4 Vita. That's kind of weird. Like, that's gonna be Vita. But it was some sort of RPG from Sony. Yeah, see? Well, you know, we've talked about this in the other stream. You know, Sony doesn't need to really make their own RPG. I mean, they got the support. Let's just say that. You know, they don't need to say, oh guys, you know, buy a PS4 because we have RPGs. People know that. Fans of the genre, you know, they know PS4 has the RPGs. And you know, Sony is the one who gives more variety of AAA content. Oh, there's stuff there. How couldn't I see it, not see it? Oh, it's a third-party title, yeah. You know, that's something also that we'll be talking about, that Sony is going to do a lot more third-party exclusive stuff, like Neo. Even though Neo is going to be available on PSC. You know, it was first on PS4 and was, I don't know, you know, published by them. So that at least it's going to be console. And you can really tell that Sony doesn't see PC as a competition. You know, because so many games, they announced saying, hey, we're going to publish this, or it's going to be on PS4 exclusive. It's also going to be on PC, because it's not competition, you know. PC is not a company that has to fight against, you know, Sony or whatever. Is that a horse? Oh yeah. Nightmare Unicorn. Today I found out, by the way, that you can actually change characters. I thought that you had to play as Neptune, but you don't. You can play whichever character you want in the game, so that's pretty cool. I'm pretty happy about that. Well, you know, Freedom Wars could be big if they, you know, oh shit, how do you say that? If they fix their mistakes that they made in the original one. Metal Dogos. Yeah, Final Fantasy 15 sold pretty well. It's still selling, of course. I'm not entirely sure if they're fine with how much it sold as compared to how much it costs to make. But yeah, they're really pushing Final Fantasy 15 on PC with the whole slogan, you know, it's gonna be better and it's gonna be incredible graphics, and I bet there will. I bet Final Fantasy 15 on PC will be incredible, 4K, 60 frames, but of course you need a really strong PC for that. And, you know, not many people in the world have that compared to, you know, 70 million PS4s. And 30 million Xboxes. Yeah, maybe you know Sony has, you know, maybe Sony is like, hey, on PSX we're going all out with PlayStation content. You know, we're gonna show as few third-party games as possible and just show a bunch of, you know, first-party games all from themselves, and you know, maybe PSX is like what Nintendo Direct is. You know, it's gonna be a third party, but mostly first. Well, it depends. Isn't Nintendo Directs also like you have like an indie version and a first party version? That's pretty smart on Nintendo. Then at least people know what to expect.
This is the legendary.
I'll end it.
I shall wide open. What is the matter? Did you think you could win against me? Wide open.
Bam! Die, creepy red doggo, monster high.
You were quite lucky.
That's true. Monster Hunter though, like holy shit, I can't wait. It's gonna be so hard beginning of next year. Like you have Ni no Kuni, Monster Hunter. Damn it. There are definitely going to be some sacrifices at, you know, which games I'm gonna buy. You know, I really have been seeing the effects of not buying too many games anymore. You know, I actually play the games now. You know, because I'm like, hey, I don't have anything else coming up. So I'm like, let's keep playing. Try to, you know, do as much as possible. So I really do not want to get something like Monster Hunter and like Ni no Kuni in like a time frame of like 2 weeks. Where are we? Okay, we are here and we're going there. Make coffee.
An item.
Sony should, Sony, every game developer should really be spending more time on trying to polish the game and making sure that it runs well. You know, the most annoying thing about a game is that if it does not run at a solid frame rate. Like Zelda is 95% solid 30 frames.
Is the legendary.
There are some, you know, a couple of instances where there are frame rate issues, but they're so small that you're like, oh, whatever, you know, I don't give a shit. Yeah. But Bloodborne at the end was freaking awesome. Bloodborne is actually also a game that
Item.
I have played a lot,
Rare item.
but I kind of should have played more. A little bit like Dark Souls, but the thing with Dark Souls is that I'm really waiting for the Game of the Year edition to drop in price, and it's Season Pass, you know, to have like a good, you know, good price. So I don't want to spend $25 on, you know, a little bit of DLC.
This is nothing. A mere scratch.
Okay, I didn't know that.
An item. A rare item.
Yay, a rare item. She's all about the rare stuff.
An item. I found treasure.
Wisdom.
Item.
I am not wisdom. I am not wise. You know, again, talking about like performances in games and, you know, especially the vanillaware consoles, you know, I keep saying that every time I see a game that's not open world, does not look as fucking good as Horizon, and people crying about, oh, you know, this generation consoles cannot handle it, I'm like, bitch, go look at Horizon. Look how incredible it looks and how incredible it performs. You know, especially after playing Zelda for such a long time, and going back to Horizon, I was really blown away at how big the difference actually is, and not only in graphics quality, but in how good Horizon performs. You know, compared to that, Zelda does feel a little bit choppier.
An item.
Ooh.
What's wrong, Rob? Is there something over there? No, the opposite. I can't hear the sound of birds anymore.
It looks like it has arrived.
As usual, it looks super strong, but we won't run. Let's use the... Oh, it's working! Now, let's exterminate this book. Boss fights are a little nerve-wracking. But as far as I'm concerned, this is just another battle. Lead the healing and support. Right! I'll cover everyone's backs.
You know, if Freedom Wars 2 is really going to be like a Monster Hunter-ish game, it is going to have a bit of a problem. Because, you know, you have a couple of games, especially if you have Monster Hunter, you know, coming out on, you know, next year on PS4. It's going to be really hard to try and justify, you know, fans of the genre getting a game that is actually inferior to Monster Hunter. The whole point on PSP, well, especially on Vita, that all these Monster Hunter clones kind of worked was because there was no Monster Hunter. What the fuck is that? Fucking cannons? That's pretty cool. Of course we know that the Switch is much weaker. I actually did not know that the Switch only has like a 3-core CPU. I'm like, okay. It only has 4 gigabytes of RAM. I'm like, oh, whoa. You know, it's really impressive. It's really impressive at how good the games actually look on the Switch. But it's just really fun to see, you know, that it doesn't really matter if a game is, you know, much better looking. At the end, Zelda, you know, is the coolest playing game. Zelda plays better than Horizon. You know, it's more fun than Horizon. So I'm really expecting some great stuff from both God of War and Days Gone, especially Days Gone. Like, you know, what they have shown in the interview at E3, the developers said that their engine can go up to hundreds of zombies on screen without any performance issues. So I was really like, I'm really interested. Like, is it just bullshit, or, you know, can they do they really have an engine that can do that?
We won! We finally beat it!
We've done it! This is a victory we obtained together!
Yay! Game over!
We've gotten the fun. We have all of them! We did it, man! Princess already knew you could do it now. Cat Princess, Kiria, we haven't seen you guys in a while. Last time we met, things got pretty messy with that monster. As of now, there isn't a fragment of a possibility that we would... In fact, it's...
I don't even need to really ask, but it seems you...
Also, isn't it strange of you to keep wandering around a den?
I'm sure you just came here to boast about getting... Of course! You need to learn that I'm much greater than you. In fact, I'm going to beat this knowledge and...
What?
Hey! I don't get what's wrong? Hey, that's not right. Blonde always says that we need to be nice to each other when we play games. You know, I get that people can get a little heated when they're being...
I too believe that it is best for fellow gamers to enjoy the game.
Fellow gamers, Princess is supreme in this world. There is no one in existence who could... Do you not understand, Nya? There is a wall between us. A wall, but Kiria, the new function of that tool.
On actual players.
Stop grumbling and just do it!
Right. Everything I do is for your sake, Princess.
Here it is! Here we go, Nya!
Book? Oh, she's like the big boss. Oh. Okay, that looks really weird.
Transformed? You mean...
That is a monster from the main 4 goddesses online. It sparked much controversy with the players and was removed completely in version 1.02. It is known as... Cheetah.
What? It's that straightforward?
Yes, it is that straightforward. It is a joke monster that uses a cheetah as a motif, playing off the word cheater. Back when the admins were working on countermeasures for cheaters, they used this cheetah as a sandbag monster. At the end of the festival, the GM would fire the cheetah up and explode it as fireworks. That was their cheat eradication campaign.
What?
How perceptive. There was also a particular word in their conversation.
Same here. I definitely heard the word tool before. Do you think they have access to a cheat? I know what that is. Blonde told us that what? The princess and the prince were bad guys? So they're cheaters. And they turned into a cheetah. Are they seriously doing this for the sake of a pun? Come on!
Maybe if the game, of course, is really, you know, alive.
That's right.
You know me, every piece of rumor is cool to talk about, but I'm not going into too much details if, you know, there's no concrete evidence that it's alive.
It's just such an awful... Hey, don't laugh! Our tool couldn't change how we look! It's not our fault!
Cheaters.
You really should watch your mouths. We aren't going to be as kind as we were last time!
Princess, I really don't think this is...
Just shut up and control the thing, Kiria! We are unparalleled and 4 goddesses online!
Okay.
Don't get any closer! Whoa! Everyone stop staring and start fighting! It'll work out. Please work out. I hope it works out. Alright, everyone! Let's go!
Okay. I wonder if we're gonna see Final Fantasy VII on PS8. True. The rumor about Monster Hunter going back to PS4 or consoles, that was true. So, you know, I'm not gonna say that everyone always lies, but we just have to wait. How the fuck can you feel the guy? Kill it! I'm also interested in Tokyo Sanuda EX Plus. To be honest, I haven't, I don't even know what the game is about and what type of game it is. You know, I haven't really checked out any information about it. It's kind of weird. The only thing I know is that the developers, they are fans of Persona, so I think it's gonna play out a little bit like Persona. Yeah, those are definitely, I do remember those that we talked about, that Capcom, you know, would never do that. They're not stupid, you know. The whole Western developing, you know, system is different now than it was on PS3, where they outsourced a lot of stuff to Western developers. They really learned their lesson to not freaking do that. Oh, blank dice. What? Fucking shitty. True. So, you know, but Capcom already mentioned that it is a mainline Monster Hunter game. It's not just a spin-off or whatever. It's just finally, just like Dynasty Warriors 9, it's finally the evolution of, you know, actually getting a real current gen game of those particular franchises. You know, it was about freaking time. And you know, also with Monster Hunter, like all the stuff that I've seen from the game, it looks really good, and it seems to perform really well. I haven't seen any, you know, issues with performance. So, you know, I speculated that on a forum that maybe it was PC gameplay, but it couldn't be. Because PC, if I remember correctly, the PC version is coming out later, and you could clearly see, you know, the X button and L1 and stuff. So it seems to be like a real Monster Hunter. And finally, developers are, you know, tapping the potential of this generation of consoles. You know, Horizon definitely showed that you can create a beautiful game that runs really well.
Even stronger.
Level up. Of course, Nori died. Of course.
Our body!
We did it!
If we put our minds to it, we can accomplish.
Will the two of them return to their normal?
It would be good if we could discuss this peacefully.
That's a Grim Reaper.
Red eyes, bloodlust, the Grim Reaper?
Wait. We cannot be certain that this is the fabled Grim Reaper.
I'm scared. We won't lose. Bring it on! Huh? That was kind of surreal. Kiria! Cat Princess! Oh!
What on earth does this mean?
Did Kiria and Black Cat Princess become the targets for a bomb? No, this seemed a little different. It almost seemed like an ally had come to...
Yeah. Like Cheetah, that monster is likely... Perhaps it's best if we reported this to the GM.
Absolutely. You know, I feel like I would be able to find peace if I could just see his face.
That's gonna be cool. Oh, by the way, there was something else that I wanted to say. It's kind of funny, but Yakuza Kiwami 2, well, you know, well, if you have played the Yakuza 0, you have that Holsters Bar minigame, and you can date girls, whatever. You know, pretty much every Yakuza game has that. But if I'm not mistaken, this is going to be the first time where you can actually date original porn stars.
It is time for some well-deserved.
There are a couple of gravure models, but also a couple of Jeff models. And for anyone who doesn't know, Jeff means Japanese adult video. I'm like, that is pretty cool. That, at least as a perverted nerd like me, I thought it was cool. Yay!
Now then, we have much to report to Bouquet, but before we do that, we should check the...
I wonder if she'll appear if we call for her. Hey! Bouquet! Neptune, I really don't think that'll work. Oh, hello everyone. First, allow me...
We have you to thank, Bouquet. You're...
Oh no, please. I haven't done much. You have yourselves to... Now, the time has come. You must hold the ceremony to revive...
So there's movement in the story.
The Paramount Pair, subordinates of the Demon King, have finally awoken. They are working toward... Ooh, the appearance of the enemy. I will show you the personal descriptions of the Paramount Pair.
Ooh.
They seem really tough. I suppose we'll have to fight them eventually. If the Demon King's forces catch wind of the goddess's revival, they will surely interfere. Before the enemies organize themselves, please hurry to the altar of the goddesses. It resides in Tekka Temple.
Got it. Okay. It's finally time for the quest to offer up the 4 sacred treasures.
All right. We have progressed the story this far quite safely, but... Bouquet, while we were on our previous quest, a fair amount of errors occurred.
Errors? Did some abnormality occur again?
Well, I wouldn't call it an abnormality. We witnessed some illegal behavior being carried out.
That can't be. The defenses against such actions here should be impenetrable. To think something illegal is happening?
Yeah, big budget games. But I mean, we are seeing a shift in the Japanese gaming market that there are more bigger budget games. But I think big budget games in Japan is different than in the West. I mean, stuff like Neo, Yakuza, Nier Automata, Persona, Dragon Quest, Final Fantasy,
Hard to explain.
you know, Dark Souls, they could all be considered big budget games, but most of them do not, you know, cannot go up against stuff like Call of Duty or Grand Theft Auto, The Witcher, you know, God of War, Uncharted. You know, that's a different type of big budget.
I will check everyone's logs. Please wait a moment. The data. It's flowing in this direct. An unexpected error has occurred. An unexpected error has occurred.
Huh? Bouquet, what is the matter?
This is the Four Goddesses online admin. I apologize. An error greater than what the AI's auto repair can handle has occurred. It might take some time to repair. I've also verified the report of unauthorized tool usage. Thank you for your cooperation.
What?
Well, at the very least, our report got through to the GM.
Yeah, let's leave this to the GM. Should we keep progressing the story? The next destination is appearing now.
Yeah! I want to hurry and meet. I agree.
It's
I don't know.
settled. We'll leave the heavy lifting.
I'm worried about Bouquet. But I won't believe in such flags. The next time
I really don't know. Like, there are so many games out there who, you know, really think that Sony is going to try and rush out the PlayStation 5 because of the Xbox One X. And I really do not see that happening. You know, I really believe that Sony is going to stretch out this generation as long as possible because it's making them millions. And the PS4 is still selling an incredible amount. And that's not going to change next year. Now, for 2019, we don't know what's coming out. You know, we don't really know. But at least next year, it's going to be bigger than this one. So, I, by the way, do skip all the bullshit. Because this is all bullshit. This is like all filler story that I don't give a shit about. So, I really believe that we're going to see PlayStation 5 2020. You know, maybe they're going to announce it at 2019, but like 2020, middle, and I mean, that's a good time. I also think that, you know, for technology, will have improved in such a way that the next generation, you know, can still be inexpensive, but has a big boost over what we have right now. And if Sony comes up with a PlayStation 5 that is 8 or 10 teraflops of power, people are going to be like, what? You know, that's not that much stronger than Xbox One X. You know, that's not a big difference. So I really, if I'm mistaken, I've heard something about DDR6 coming out next year or 2019. I'm like, I have a feeling that that is what the PS5 is going to have. Now, maybe I'm totally wrong, but that's just my hunch. And has like a, you know, Ryzen CPU that's going to be at that time, you know, inexpensive compared to what is going to be available for that. But gamers do have to realize that consoles will never be stronger than PC. It doesn't matter which generation at how many generations we still have left, the consoles are never going to catch up on PC. It's just impossible. You know, but for a console player, yes, you know, it's cool to have a, you know, big boost in graphical power every generation. So, as you say, holiday 2020 would actually be a really good time for PlayStation 5 to come out. So we still have, let's say, 2 full years, 18 and 19 for PlayStation 4. We could definitely see, you know, a Resident Evil 8, maybe. One thing is for certain though, is that this generation, and I include the Switch with it, could possibly be one of the best ever. Like, it cannot beat PS2 or Super Nintendo or PlayStation 1 in terms of Japanese quality games. But we don't know what the future holds, you know, we don't know stuff. But if you consider Mario and the Zelda games and Persona, you know, there's so many incredible games available. And then we have the surge of all the indie games. Like, people have been saying to me, like, I have to play Yonder. Yonder seems to be like a sort of open world-ish Zelda game, and it seems to be really good. And it's only 24 bucks. So I'm actually thinking of getting that game. And I mean, limited run games finally has been improved to release Switch physical games. That's going to be cool. They have announced a slew of new games, including Icy, that looks really cool. And something I am so excited for, Nex Machina. Finally, you know, if that game can sell well, maybe we are going to see a Resogun physical version. That will be fucking cool. Resogun is one of those games that just deserves a physical version, and I have no idea why it's not here yet. Yes, it is for a fact that at least the PS4 destroys the PS3 in terms of how many games there are there and how many quality games that are already available. Now, you can say that stuff like Persona is also on PS3. Yes, 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 but it came out, you know, when the PS3's era was gone. So in my books, it's still a PS4 game. What was I doing? Oh yeah, check out the new no. I wonder if you do get new costumes though. Like, I really already have those. Like, they don't have anything new. I don't get that.
Please, come again. Welcome. Please, come again.
Welcome! Is this okay? Thanks for your purchase. Thank you!
Welcome. Please, come again.
4th gen is Super Nintendo, right? Well, I've never really had a Super Nintendo. I do know all the incredible games that came out, you know, PS1 and PS2 era, especially PS1, with all the incredible RPGs. I don't think that's ever going to be beaten. In terms of, you know, the Japanese games.
Welcome to the cathedral. May the gods
That's just going to be really hard to do.
Hey, welcome. Come again, okay?
Right, talk to everyone. Yes, so it seems. I wonder if this is really like the end of the game. That's impossible, right? I spent what? How many? Only 15 hours. No, of course not. Like the quest meter is like only 36%. That's impossible.
I found something good. How about this? Here. Here. How about this? How about this? I shall use this. I shall use this. How about this? I'll use this. Here.
So her strength is 280.
I shall use this.
And now it's okay.
I shall
Why do you have to do it like this? Like
that's
really annoying.
How about this? Here. Here. How about this? Here. 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 Here.
Nah, Gen 5, you know, anyone who hates against,
How about this?
you know, the PS4 or I mean the PS1 or PS2, you know, they're not real gamers. Like I never said anything bad about, you know, stuff like the Super Nintendo because I know it's a legendary console, you know, but just the success that the PS1 had and PS2 had for a game console is just unprecedented. You know, yes, the DS also sold like 150 million, but it never had the software support. You know, it didn't sell 1.8 billion copies of software. It didn't have 5,000 plus games, you know. It just sold a huge amount.
I found something good.
Oh yeah, party, Neptune. Yeah, you really have to be nostalgic for, you know, the first 3D games. Like in my opinion, stuff like Diablo and Diablo 2, they hold up pretty well. They're not like real 3D games. But, you know, games like Crash Bandicoot also holds up very well in my opinion. Crash Bandicoot is, by the way, a game I really still need to play more on PS4. I played it once and haven't touched it ever again. Kinda stupid actually. But, stuff like Ocarina of Time, you know, for someone like me who has never played those games, you know, I mean, okay, that's not really true because I do like retro games. I love old style 3D games. So maybe not for myself, but for example, my nephews, you know, they're 7 years old and they are growing up with, you know, Lego games and this generation of graphics. If they somehow would play Ocarina of Time, they most probably will say something like, oh, it looks ugly or it looks blocky and, you know.
This is the legendary.
It doesn't age really well. But I do think that there are still gamers out there, young gamers, who do like retro games. If I look at, you know, retro game conventions, one of them is coming up next month. There are also a lot of younger people just, you know, checking out stuff like Super Nintendo or Commodore, you know. And I think, you know, if you talked about that, I think that what Nintendo is doing with the Super Nintendo Mini is actually something really good, because you do see on Facebook and on gaming sites that, you know, older gamers that have kids are, you know, saying, I got a Super Nintendo for my kids because I want them to grow up with the same games I grew up, so they kind of know where it started, you know. And that is kind of what I want for my nephews too. You know, I want them to grow up with you know, with good games, and not with Call of Duty or Grand Theft Auto. So maybe for holy shit. Maybe for Christmas I'm gonna get them a Super Nintendo Mini. You know, it's actually pretty available here. I definitely commend, you know, give props to Nintendo for finally making good, you know, good enough copies. Because you can easily, you can pretty much buy one if you want. Yeah, that they shut down Frisco Gaming was fucking stupid. I loved okay, Dead Space 3 wasn't really that good, but Dead Space 1 and 2 were incredible games.
What is this?
Hier in Bart Smit, of in de toys, liggen ze gewoon in stapels. Ja, stapels, die kan je ze kopen. Dat was toen hetzelfde met de Switch. Toen de Switch over uitverkocht was, je kon het gewoon hier kopen. Er ligt trouwens nog steeds één. Ik denk dat het dezelfde is gewoon nog steeds. Die staat... Dat was heel even... Stond erbij in de toys besmeerd. Jezus, ik weet nooit welke... Want eentje is weg en eentje is niet weg. Stond er heel even, stond er maar echt zo'n blaadje van... Ja, de Switch moet je pre-orderen. En... Maar nu kan je het gewoon kopen hoor, als je één wilt. Maar hier kan je gewoon zo'n... Super Nintendo Mini kopen. En what's up, Triforce? Ik ga trouwens, want ik ga vandaag even die games bestellen. Ik denk dat ik Yonder ga bestellen. Gaat best wel tof te zijn. Ik weet niet of ik Mario ga halen eigenlijk. Ik wil het wel, maar Xenoblade komt ook uit. En ja, ik weet niet. Well, it's kind of funny that they think linear. Well, okay, linear games. You know, it all depends on what type of game are you going to make. Dead Space wasn't really linear. Like Dead Space, you could actually. It wasn't really open, but you could backtrack a lot. I think you could actually backtrack the entire ship. You know. And if you look at stuff like Uncharted, I mean Uncharted 4 has sold like 11 million copies. Is that dying? It's the first Uncharted game to sell 10 million. That's not dying. And the thing is that not every game is like Horizon or Zelda that does the open world and The Witcher. You know, that does the open world gaming good. Like, it actually works. It's fun. You know, we don't need to discuss it in detail, but just look at Final Fantasy 15. It's fun for like 40 hours, and then you kind of understand there's nothing to do in the world. Yeah, I do want to get Fire Emblem Warriors. My friends actually got it. One of my friends, we have like on WhatsApp, we have like a gaming group with all my friends kind of, and some of their friends that are really into gaming. And one of them is also a diehard gamer, and he was like, I don't want to get the Switch. Like, you know, I'm gonna wait until a price cut and this and that. And you know, we have been trying to convince him, saying that, hey, you know, Nintendo is not really all about, you know, price cuts. Like, it's gonna take a long time before Nintendo is going to cut the price of the Switch. Go get it, just get it. And yesterday he finally did it. So he got the Switch with Zelda and Fire Emblem. Two of my other friends got Fire Emblem. I'm pretty much the only one who does not have it. And I'm like, fuck it. No, they did not cancel it. That is not true. Another group is going to make it. Another studio is going to make it. I hope not. I'm sick and tired of online required bullshit games and loot box crap. I mean, you know, I've talked about this in another stream. Loot boxes can be really cool. You know, it can be satisfying to try and collect loot boxes, just like people like Magic the Gathering or Yu-Gi-Oh cards or Pokemon cards, but make it normal. You know, don't make me want to spend money on getting a loot box, or else I have to grind 200 hours for one good one. You know, that sucks. But I have to admit that, like, Battlefront 2 from Star Wars, it looks really cool. And it does seem that they have learned a lot of, you know, they've learned their lessons in what they have done wrong with the first one, especially, you know, all the hate that it doesn't have any content. It seems that, you know, the second one does have a lot of content. Ah, yeah, I'm at the Paris Game Week. Well, I don't expect too much from Paris Game Week. Paris Game Week was always really small. You know, if you compare it to like last year, they pretty much announced the Slim and the PS4 Pro. Like, that was it. You know, so don't expect great things. But I do expect great things from PSX. Like, I truly believe that they're gonna show some really cool stuff with PSX. They are, you know, really gonna show why you need a PS4.
I found treasure. I found something good.
Fairy feathers. Do I have like new costumes? I always like that. Hey, why don't I? Oh, of course. Really? When did they announce? Was it on Gamescom they announced the PS4 Pro? Didn't they announce that Paris Game Week? That's what I remember. Maybe it was on Gamescom. I don't know. Oh, holy shit, I should not forget to save the game. Because if somehow my game crashes, I have to do an hour over. I do not like that. Hey, maybe I do not. Oh, of course, yeah, I remember. Yes, it was called PlayStation Meeting. Oh, okay. So then, shut the fuck up that I said. And, yeah. Okay, so they could potentially announce a game or two. Paris is in Europe. Of course, it's in Europe. Maybe we're gonna see more of Detroit Become Human. Maybe finally get a release date. A friend of mine played it on First Look. That's like the biggest gaming expo in Europe, or in Holland. And she did say that it was really cool. It was kind of funny, but she said that, you know, the Sony people there, they actually let you play a couple of times the same scene and let you do it in a different way. And she says that the whole what happened is gonna be totally different. That she really felt that, you know, because you're making a different choice, you know, it's all different. So that is really interesting. That really interests me. Like, she's all well. She likes games, and she definitely likes games like that. But she is someone who is really she knows a lot about computers and technology, and she is really like, if there's a flaw in the game, she can easily see it much easier than I. You know. she, for example, said like, oh, Zelda is really cool, but it has some frame rate issues and low texture polygons and this and that. I'm like, okay. And that's why it's really interesting for her, especially because she also says like Uncharted is like incredibly detailed, you know, it's really professionally made, and she said. And she says that of Detroit Become Human too, that it really felt that her choices mattered.
We'll destroy
A lot of the different, the same enemies, same bosses. Trouwens, Triforce, mocht jij er nog zijn? Jij had Yonder toch ook gespeeld? Had je hem nog uitgespeeld of zo? Ik bedoel, kan je daar ook gear verzamelen? Ik bedoel, wat moet je precies allemaal doen? Het ziet er wel heel tof uit trouwens. Ik heb vandaag een gameplay video van gezien. So, hey Brent, when do you think we're gonna see the Grand Blue game made by Platinum from last year? That was definitely a really interesting looking game. And we haven't seen anything on Tokyo Game Show this year. That was really disappointing. I'm kind of thinking of skipping Mario and get Yakuza and Yonder. Those are going to be the same price as buying Mario. They're both 24 bucks, 25. But I'm afraid that I'm gonna that Yakuza Kiwami is gonna feel more of the same. Too much, because I already played Yakuza 0 this year. I don't know. Like, I do want to have like East 8. Like, when Xenoblade comes out and then Monster Hunter, you know, I don't want to be like, oh, you know, I forgot about East. I was so excited for that game. The demo was so cool. Maybe I'm gonna get that. Maybe I'm gonna get East 8. Like, it is worth, it's now 48 bucks. I mean, it's worth it. I know it is. Level 60.
For now,
Let us take a short
It does seem that the game is gonna be level 99, so at least with leveling up, I am pretty much at almost, well, not really at the end, but you know, going towards like 99, if that is really the case.
Welcome to the guild.
Oh, you have to obtain the secret.
Finish the quest.
Oh, clear. Oh, I haven't even done that. Oh. Oh. Jesus fuck. Yeah, so the whole thing is, and this is kind of weird, you have a guild, and in most games there are optional quests, right? In this game, the guild rank pretty much means a chapter. So chapter 1, chapter 3, chapter 4, etc. So now that we're at chapter 5, we are indeed pretty much gearing towards the end.
You've accepted the quest. Good luck.
Oh, it's not really about Mario being mainstream. It's more about like it really looks cool.
It'll get confusing.
You know, I really want to play Mario. It's just that my fear is that I will not enjoy the game as much as I am enjoying Zelda, because it's totally different games. Like, I like platform games, but I'm not hugely into them. You know what I mean?
Time for the climax? Or look, we've made it this far. Indeed.
So I'm afraid that I'm gonna say like, oh yeah, Mario's a really cool game, but you know, after 20 hours, I got bored with it.
No matter who the enemy, everyone's full of.
And I would rather than spend that money on buying a game I know I'm gonna play for a long time.
Be careful out there.
Do I now got new stuff? No. Why not? Oh, you do get this, but like, who cares about this? Is that a... Oh no, that's a mask. I was thinking about something else. And I was like, what? Okay, so the costumes never really changed. That sucks.
Welcome.
I mean, you do have a lot of costumes, well, a couple, but... Yeah, that's something I did hear. That there were like a lot of moons, and just like Koroks in Zelda, like there are so many of them. And it's really cool because it really makes you want to explore the world more, because you're like, there could be a Korok. And because it expands your inventory, you actually really want to get those. Because eventually, at the end of the game, where pretty much I am at, you see so many cool gear, you're like, I want to take it with me. But you cannot because your inventory is too small. You know, for example. Hey! I see new gear.
Is this okay? Thanks for your purchase. Thank you.
Hey, welcome. Is this what you... Let's do this. 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 Let's do this.
I got 3 pure water, and now I already got Raven Stab. This seems much stronger. Sweet lollipop, I don't like that. Okay.
Come again, okay?
Okay, so they are definitely better. Okay, that's cool. Blanc, Noir, and Uni, of course. Why did I forget about Uni? And then you have Napier. Or no, this one. Increase SP by 25%. Okay. Oh, okay. You know, but it really, I'm really surprised how incredible good Mario looks. I genuinely think it looks incredible. It's, you know, it's so colorful and it runs at a solid 60 frames. That is so, like, if you consider how strong the CPU is, it's so incredible how Nintendo can do it. And it really shows is that it doesn't matter if you have a Xbox One X or you have a Switch. It all depends on how you optimize and how you know, make your game, how you make your game. Like, are you going to make it, you know, super incredible, beautiful, but it performs like shit? Or you're gonna try and look at the balance. And I think that is a good word. What Nintendo does, they balance their game, being a good-looking game, but also runs at a solid 60 frames. It's a balance, and of course, incredible gameplay. And I think that is really what makes Nintendo such a legendary developer. You know, they really make a balanced game, and at least like many Western games, they prefer graphics. Many Japanese games, they prefer gameplay over graphics or performance over graphics. Or like Neo, they let you choose which one you want, but you don't really see many balanced games. In a way, stuff like Horizon is sort of balanced. Like, Horizon looks incredible and it runs incredible. That is the balance. But the gameplay does suffer a bit. Because compared to Zelda, the gameplay in Horizon feels simple. You know, it's good, but it feels simple compared to Zelda.
Welcome to the cathedral.
Yeah, and I think that's why I got the Switch, because, you know, yes, you have Sony with the high budget games and all the Japanese support and all the Western support, but you have Nintendo for that nostalgic retro style gaming and that Nintendo flair, you know. True. Like, it's such a shame, like Gravity Rush 2, in my opinion, sort of had that balance. It looks pretty good. It has an incredible art direction, just as you mentioned. So many things going on screen. Its flying mechanic is pretty good. It breaks it apart with those way too long gauntlet missions. You know, you have seen me just being annoyed by these gauntlet missions that should be optional, but you have to do them for some weird reason to progress the story, and that fucking sucked. That really threw, in my opinion, the game of being like an 8.5 to like an 8. You know, like, the game is good. I really enjoyed Gravity Rush. It's a good game. But it should, if they put out these gauntlet missions as optional or just make them smaller, it would be like an 8.5. You know, it would be a great game, but not like superb or really, you know, great as like a 9 and 9.5 and 10. But they're good games. Quest. Ted Yuakantabur.
Here we go. This is the legendary.
I don't know if a better budget would have
It is possible.
made a better game, because again, the game is good. It's also reviewed good. It's at 8.3 or 8.1 on Metacritic. That's a really good score. Really good score. You know, they should have the budget that they put in these long gauntlets. They should have put in something different. Yeah, like 8 is a good score. And The Last Guardian would be like a 7.5. Only because of the incredible atmosphere and connection between you and the beast. All the technical flaws and the gameplay flaws, especially with the AI of Trico, is just annoying. It's annoying. You know, it's a game that I pretty much will never... Sony is going to drop some really, really interesting games next year. They're going full out. And that is still like... Who really thinks that Sony is going... If Sony was really working, or if Sony was completing the PS5, because if it's coming out in 2018, 2019, they are pretty much on its way to complete the PlayStation 5. If Sony was really doing that, they do not spend so much money in making big budget games for this generation. You know, just like what we saw with last generation, where Gran Turismo was pretty much their last big game, you really saw that they didn't have anything else besides that. That was it. Because they were working on the newer games. It really boggles my mind sometimes how stupid gamers are. Especially gamers who, you know, are not really into the industry. They're just like, oh, I love playing games, but whatever. And then they think something. It's the same as, for example, many gamers think that stuff like from, you know, No Man's Sky or Battlefront or, oh, they're Sony games. Sony fucked it up. I'm like, okay, Sony made a mistake by hyping No Man's Sky for, you know, in such a way, but it's not their game. You know, they only published it. It's not their game. It's not from Sony. And I see that a lot, especially on Facebook. When people are like, oh, you know, Sony fucked it up again. I'm like, dude, that's not a game from Sony. They did not fuck up anything. Same with like Crash Bandicoot. There are a lot of rumors that Crash Bandicoot is coming out on Switch and Xbox, and there are people like, oh my god, how can Sony let that happen? I'm like, dude, it's not from Sony. Play more. Maybe I'm gonna play it after this.
I found something good.
Yay, found something good.
This is the legendary.
Is that legendary? Oh yeah, I already got a message that my internet connection wasn't good enough and it's lagging. It always happens with streaming. I'm also doing it with Wi-Fi. Like maybe I should connect it to the cable again. But at the moment it's just, you know, Wi-Fi. Okay, now we have to fight him again. especially like gamers who are they're like, oh my god, Sony's afraid of Xbox One X. Oh my god, the Switch won, you know, 6 months out of the 4 years. Oh my god, you know, it's game over. You know, move along. You have the whole Nintendo domination. I'm like, what? I mean, seriously? I mean, the PS4 should be around 70 million right now. Are you really saying that 6 million Switches are better? Really? Like, I won't say it's impossible for the Switch to catch up on PS4. Definitely not, but it's gonna be really hard. Really hard. Nintendo needs a lot more than, you know, 1 or 2 great games and a couple of really old ports of current gen games. I keep saying these bosses are not hard. They're just it just takes time for them to beat. Who does 0? There's someone who does 0 damage. Wide open. Yeah, you know, I understand that in that time, like the first 2 years of PS4, you know, you didn't have that much. Let's be honest. Like, you know, Infamous was cool. You know, they were great. But stuff like The Order, they all kind of failed. Like, I liked The Order for what it was, for a $20 game. And Infamous was definitely like the game to play on PS4. But, you know, you didn't have the stuff you have now. It started out really slow. Like always, Sony starts out slow. You know, it's something that has always been there. But of course the indie scene was really big. So it's kind of understandable that Sony placed a little bit of their bet on some of the more interesting indie games. There's also something a complaint of gamers nowadays that are like, oh, Sony doesn't give, you know, indie games a chance anymore and Nintendo does. I'm like, that's what happens when pretty much the PS4 already has the indie support, it has the Japanese support. Sony doesn't need to keep telling people like, oh, there are indies on PS4, there are Japanese games on PS4. People know it. We know it. You know, now Sony has to make sure that people know that there are games out there on PS4 that you cannot buy anywhere else. Also that, I mean, you know, at that time Sony was also a little bit more, well, also focused on the Vita, and they totally dropped that, so everything is now on the PS4.
Welcome to the guild.
Huh? Huh?
Be careful out there.
I did the report. I beat the boss, or did I need to do something else now? Okay, so I shouldn't have beaten only the boss.
Now, let us
Oh,
proceed.
okay, that's interesting. I really thought you just had to beat the boss and that's it.
Welcome to the cathedral. I shall may the goddesses protect you.
XP, 10%. That's cool. Okay, well, maybe he has to do something else.
I'll show Noir my good side.
This is the legendary...
Yeah, I've seen that, and the interesting thing about that is that they're actually going to release Switch games. That's really cool. By the way, I do have a question. Can you actually see gameplay? Or are you just hearing my voice? That's all. Monster Claw. Oh, wait, I have to go there. Oh. Oh, oh.
I'll use this. An item.
Fruit of Beginning. More treasure. There's more treasure to be found. Oh! Ah! Okay, well, yeah, it's kind of funny that because I'm checking it out on YouTube, but it seems that there's actually like nothing. So there is no gameplay. Okay, that's annoying. Well, H-Brand, then I am going to end the stream because, you know, people cannot watch, then there is, you know, nothing to it. I think I'm gonna put in the cable again. That's better than Wi-Fi, of course. Because my Wi-Fi connection is never really that good. I still hate Wi-Fi. It's still sucks. And I probably will be back streaming later on in the evening. I think I'm gonna keep playing though. Maybe I'm gonna play something else. Who knows? Maybe I'm actually at the end of the game. That you know, all the other guild quests are you know, optional, whatever. I don't know. But thanks all for watching again, and of course for chatting. Always really cool. We're gonna see each other maybe at the end of the day or someday else. So like always, you're gonna see me next time. Where is it?